Tonight, a defiant Donald Trump doubles down. The U.S. president vows to raise global tariffs after his Supreme Court setback.
I was actually quite surprised the president didn't come out with 15% across the board yesterday as the very first measure.
The fallout and how Canadian businesses are weathering the tariff storm. Plus, standing up to separation, the message demonstrators have for Alberta's premier. And the Winter Games may be winding down, but the search for merch is heating up.
It's crazy. It's a huge success.
What Olympic fans are clamoring to get their hands on in Milan.
CTV National News with Heather Butts. Reporting tonight, John Venevali Rao.
Good evening. On the heels of that U.S. Supreme Court decision that struck down Donald Trump's signature tariff program, today the U.S. president, defiant as ever, announced he's hiking his new global tariff. And as CTV's Jeremy Sharon reports, it may signal more potential trouble for Canada later this year.
Less than 24 hours after blasting the Supreme Court for striking down some of his tariffs,
deeply disappointing.
Then immediately imposing new ones, U.S. President Donald Trump today upping the ante, announcing in a social media post his Section 122 global tariffs are increasing, raising the 10% worldwide tariff to the fully and legally tested 15% level.
I was actually quite surprised the president didn't come out with 15% across the board yesterday as the very first measure.
The new duties imposed under the U.S. Trade Act are limited to a maximum of 15% and would require congressional approval to extend beyond 150 days.
Many thought that the Supreme Court ruling would actually see the president back away, but that has not happened. And so I think what we're seeing here is now Congress is going to be left to its own devices to try to rein in this president.
According to the White House, the tariffs won't be applied to goods covered under CUSMA, the current Canada-US-Mexico trade agreement, meaning they'll have little direct impact for now on the Canadian economy.
For Canada, we're in a temporarily somewhat lucky position of having those extra protections afforded to us by CUSMA.
But with a mandatory CUSMA review deadline set for July 1st and an administration that has indicated it will spend the next months investigating trading partners' policies, threatening further tariffs through different legal means, this former senior advisor to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who was involved in the last round of trade talks, suggests challenges lie ahead.
So with all these deadlines up against each other, Canada may find itself in a very precarious spot come summer.
Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974 is what Trump is relying on for new tariffs when the current ones expire.
It allows the president to use new levies if they deem trading partners' policies are unreasonable and discriminatory. Trump has repeatedly called Canada's supply management system an unfair trade barrier. John?
Okay, Jeremy in Ottawa tonight, thank you. As you heard, yesterday's court ruling in the U.S. didn't have much of an immediate impact on Canada, and many small business owners here are focused on a different Trump policy they eventually hope will also get reversed. Here's CTV's Kamal Karamali.
Stitching together a career out of creating wedding accessories, Blair Nadeau depends on Americans who make up most of her clients.
70%. It's a big number.
But ever since tariffs were tacked on to her shipments, things have been falling apart.
It was 70% of my business lost overnight.
How did that feel?
Devastating. It felt like a death.
Over the past year, the Trump administration used emergency powers under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA, to impose sweeping tariffs. It also scrapped the long-standing de minimis rule that had allowed goods under $800 US to enter that country duty-free with minimal paperwork. But this week, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled the president did not have the authority under IEEPA to impose those broad tariffs, striking down their legal foundation.
Donald Trump lost the principal instrument he has used for his foreign policy, his tariff policy, his economic policy to bully and to push around other countries.
While some companies are technically now eligible for repayment for the tariffs they paid, not everyone is cheering. Key sectors like steel, aluminum, and auto can't get a refund because those tariffs were imposed under a separate legal authority.
It's unfortunate in that it doesn't apply to the steel industry, and we're still waiting for relief.
Caught in all of this, small Canadian businesses still paying the price, hoping to see the return of the de minimis exemption. And once again ship smaller goods duty-free.
Essentially took away that customer's choice of being able to purchase from anywhere else outside of their own country. And it is absolutely devastating.
The U.S. saying Friday the de minimis rule will stay suspended, costing this small business a lot more to make a lot less. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Now to the latest on the tragic shooting in Tumbler Ridge, with BC's Premier David Eby today calling new details profoundly disturbing after OpenAI, the company behind the ChatGPT app, confirmed the shooter's account had been suspended last year after posts were made, including scenarios involving gun violence. The Wall Street Journal reports staff had considered contacting law enforcement, but it was decided the interactions did not meet the bar for that. The RCMP says OpenAI did reach out to officers after the shooting, and that as part of its investigation, it's reviewing the content of electronic devices as well as social media and online activities. And some promising news about one of the victims. 12-year-old Maya Gabala was wounded during the shooting, and her mom says she has opened one of her eyes for the first time since she was hospitalized. The preteen was shot in the head and neck. Just how much she'll recover is still unknown. In Toronto, there was dueling demonstrations today in the heart of the city as anti-immigration protesters clashed with an even larger group pushing back against their message. The anti-immigration protesters, about 100 of them, squared off with roughly 150 immigration supporters in Toronto's Sankofa Square, both sides vocal about their views.
We want to take care of our people first. When we can take care of our own first, then we can take care of others.
We're both born here, but we're children of immigrants, and they're forgetting that. That's a big problem.
While the rally did get heated at times, there were no arrests. A different story than the last anti-immigration rally held in Toronto in January by the group Canada First. Police say they arrested 8 people at that demonstration, which they described as volatile. Protesters also gathered outside the Alberta legislature today, there to criticize the provincial government, which they say, through its referendum plan, is pushing Alberta separation. But as CTV's Connor Hogg reports, separatists are also concerned about the referendum plans.
Despite frigid temperatures Saturday, hundreds took to the legislature steps to protest what they call a government pushing Alberta separation forward.
Smith talks about a sovereign Alberta within a Canada, but, you know, she's waffling.
We want our lives to stay the way they are. Our kids and our grandkids. Yeah. We're solid Canadian citizens.
On Thursday, Premier Danielle Smith announced a list of questions her government will put to Albertans in a referendum on October 19th. She says it's possible more could be added to the list, referencing the citizen referendum questions about Alberta staying or leaving Canada, as well as coal mining in the Rocky Mountains.
Nobody's congratulating her for, giving Albertans this wonderful opportunity to speak to all of these issues. People are angry on both sides of the issue.
Stay Free Alberta is the group advocating for the province to separate from Canada. They say Smith is attempting to distract and diminish the group's work. They see their proposal as too important to be just one of a list.
Our question has to be a standalone question. You can't muddy our question up with 9 questions.
One of their canvassing locations isn't in Canada. An event for Albertans vacationing in Arizona was held in the Grand Canyon State Saturday. Elections Alberta confirms this is allowed as long as it's Canadians who are both canvassing and signing.
It shows that our canvassers are creative. They're having fun with this.
That's what freedom's all about. Go ahead, but it's absolutely ludicrous.
I just wish that there'd be more emphasis on the Forever Canada petition.
The Forever Canadian petition, which was certified by Elections Alberta last year, wants the province to stay in Canada. Danielle Smith confirming the future of that petition question on her radio show Saturday.
We have to put that to a bipartisan committee, which we will do when we return next week.
She says a committee will be gathered to determine whether it will be put to a vote in the legislature or added to the October referendum list. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
To the Winter Olympics and another great showing for Canada with multiple trips to the podium on the last full day of competition in Italy. Canada's men's curlers having a golden finish, beating Britain 9-6. That's our nation's first men's curling championship since Sochi in 2014. Brad Jacobs and his Calgary-based rink trailed for most of the match, but pulled ahead in the pivotal ninth end.
The way it was done was particularly exciting. Trailing after 8 ends, then having the hammer for one of only 3 of the last ends was difficult, but that 9th end scoring 3, that really did it.
Rachel Homan's Ottawa-based rink also reached the podium with a 10-7 victory over the U.S. in the women's bronze medal game. It's Homan's first Olympic medal and Canada's first in women's curling also since 2014.
Just proud of my team, proud of us for pulling together, fighting hard for each other, for Canada, and to be able to bring home a medal for Canada just means everything to us.
And veteran speed skater Ivani Blondin claimed Canada's 3rd medal of the day. The 35-year-old from Ottawa wrapped up her Olympic journey in grand style, racing to silver in the women's mass start. It's her 2nd medal of the Games after winning gold in the team pursuit. So after day 15 of competition, Canada now has 5 gold medals, 6 silver and 9 bronze for a total of 20. And of course, everyone's hoping we can add 1 more gold tomorrow when Canada takes on the United States in the much anticipated men's hockey final. Toronto's Scotiabank Arena is just one of the venues across the country that will be hosting watch parties for the match, happening just after 8 o'clock Sunday morning Eastern Time. Ontario's premier is allowing bars to open and serve alcohol as early as 6 a.m. And while the Winter Games are winding down, how about this for a sign that spring is just around the corner?
First pitch to Ernie Clement misses low.
That there is Ernie Clement leading off for the Blue Jays in the first game of spring training. It got underway this afternoon in Dunedin, Florida. On the field, familiar faces like Vladdy Guerrero Jr., who helped take the country on that thrilling World Series ride last season. There were also new players, including Japanese superstar Kazuma Okamoto, who made his debut with the team. The regular season is set to start at the end of next month. Coming up, troubled waters.
We've seen fish market crash in different areas, and we don't want that happening in Lake Winnipeg.
How scientists are trying to breathe new life into a dying lake. A new report card is sounding the alarm on child poverty, highlighting a rising number of kids on Prince Edward Island now living below the poverty line. CTV's Maria Saru takes a closer look.
For advocates who have spent decades fighting to reduce poverty, this report is a tough read. It shows 1 in 6 children on PEI living below the line. And Mary Boyd says progress is too slow.
It's a snail's pace. It's not right. There's a lot of people suffering out there.
The most recent numbers show the province continues to have the lowest child poverty rate in the region at 16.7%, with Nova Scotia recording the highest at 22.7%. Still, the count ticked up from 5,000 kids in 2022 to 5,060 in 2023. Children in one-parent families had the highest rate at 38.3%, and 17.6% of those under 6 were living in poverty.
It's disgraceful. And we've called it disgraceful because somehow poverty is on the back burner.
Without government benefits, including federal transfers, the island's child poverty would more than double, says the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives.
Government support does work. It is decreasing poverty.
we need more of it.
The most important policy change these advocates want to see is more income supports.
We know there's still quite a significant gap on PEI between the minimum wage and the living wage. If you're earning less than the living wage, then you are struggling.
A spokesperson for PEI's Social Development Ministry told CTV News that supports have been scaled up in recent years, including income assistance increases, a child benefit, and school meal programs. More provincial report cards are expected next week, including a national snapshot. Maria Sru, CTV News, Charlottetown.
To Manitoba now, and a pioneering study aimed at tracking viruses and their impact on a well-known feature of Lake Winnipeg, the massive algae blooms. CTV's Alex Carpa has more.
So it's a pretty simple process.
Scientist Emily Chase is studying how microscopic viruses are shaping the health of Lake Winnipeg.
Simply pour it into this filter tower.
Chase is the first researcher to undertake this study. Over the last year, she and her team have been collecting water samples from the lake.
We do what's called metagenomic sequencing. And so with that, we're really looking at what viruses are there, what microbes are there.
While these microalgae viruses are harmless to humans, they can disrupt the lake's ecological balance, impacting fish populations and overall ecosystem health.
At the moment, it looks like blooms will probably increase in intensity.
Warmer and longer summers, plus other human-caused reasons, are fueling these algal blooms in Lake Winnipeg, and some fear further strain on the lake's already fragile ecosystem could have a significant economic impact for the region.
The fisheries market, that Lake Winnipeg or multi-million-dollar market, could change, and we've seen fish markets crash in different areas, and we don't want that happening to Lake Winnipeg, that's for sure.
Lake Winnipeg, the world's 11th largest freshwater lake, has increasingly been described as a lake in decline. Water flowing from cities such as Edmonton, Calgary, and Winnipeg eventually drains into the lake, carrying excess phosphorus.
A lot of the reasons for the change is from humans causing it. It's also from flooding and potentially climate change factors.
For Chase, the research is motivating.
It's considered Canada's sickest lake, but of course we want to change that.
A future she hopes includes a healthy Lake Winnipeg for generations to come. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
I'm Heather Butts in Milan, Italy. Official Olympic merchandise is a big part of these games. Tonight, we'll look at a hot ticket item everyone is trying to buy and what people will do to get their hands on it. That's coming up tonight on CTV National News.
NASA is facing another setback to its mission to return to the moon after a problem was detected with its Artemis rocket. An issue with the helium flow in the upper stage may force the space agency to roll the rocket back into a hangar for repairs. That could mean the launch with Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen on board may not happen until at least early April. Well, as we mentioned earlier, the Winter Games in Italy are almost over, and for those lucky enough to be there, the final push is on to snag a souvenir before heading home. And as CTV's Heather Butts found out, one of the most popular items isn't easy to find.
Milan has long been recognized as a global fashion capital, but just steps from the luxurious shops of the Galleria is a powerhouse of a different kind. In the Piazza del Duomo, an Olympic mega store that's been drawing huge crowds for weeks.
Gift for my daughter, souvenir. So that just a memorable moment we're gonna have here, so something for her.
This is the largest of 67 Olympic shops set up across northern Italy. You'll find everything from clothing and accessories to plush toys and collectible pins.
Like the little mascots are really cute, so anything that has that on it, like there's a cool shirt right there.
Everyone loves to trade the pins at the event, so it's just kind of fun and cool souvenirs.
The average transaction, more than $150, with merchandise sales surging beyond organizers' expectations.
It's crazy, it's a huge success.
The head of retail for the Milano Cortina Foundation pointing to sought-after souvenirs, like the Olympic hockey jersey, now one of the best sellers.
Very important products in terms of recognizability of our history, of the Italian style. For example, we develop a mocha, so the coffee machine.
While there are dozens of items still available, there is something often missing from these stores, a hot ticket item difficult to find. The plush mascots, named after host cities Milano and Cortina, selling out daily.
The Tina mascot.
Yeah, and all sold out. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, best chance.
We are looking for Tina and Milo for mascots.
Such a hot commodity, fans have even joked the only way to get one is to win a medal.
Every day we restock some quantities. Obviously you need to be lucky in this moment because you cannot find in each moment.
Moments after the interview, a few were released and scooped up in seconds. The endless search has people now turning to the online store, hoping to score. Online orders also have limited quantities, and delivery for those slated for July. Heather Butts, CTV News, Milan, Italy.
All right, still ahead. How Canada's Boys of Summer are helping to make a young man's dreams come true. Finally for us tonight, as we showed you earlier, the Blue Jays are back for spring training, and perhaps no one's more excited about that than Wesley Johnson, an Ontario teen who's been given just weeks to live, and on his bucket list, a trip to Dunedin. Here's CTV's Brent Lale.
Just tried to live life with no regrets.
17-year-old Wesley Johnson was born with a congenital heart disease. After waiting 3 years for a heart transplant that never came, he's been told by doctors he has just weeks to live.
This condition has been palliative since he was born, so we've kind of always known that this day could potentially come.
Yeah, I just try not to think about it too often. Our family uses dark humor to get through it.
Before he passes away, Wesley left Sick Kids in Toronto, where he spent the past 3 years. He decided to have a living celebration of life.
Being able to spend today with him when he's in such good spirits and such good health relatively compared to where we're headed is really special to us. It's a memory for us, and it's a positive memory for his siblings too.
Wes is a massive Blue Jays fan, so everyone attending was asked to wear their Jays gear. He even received a special surprise message.
What's up, Wes? David Snyder here of the Blue Jays. I know I heard you're a big Jays fan and everything, so I just want to say thank you for all the support and, hoping you have a good time at your party with, your friends and family.
A recent online fundraiser has helped Wes receive his final wish, attending a Blue Jays game in Dunedin.
I heard you're coming down in about 2 weeks or so, glad hopefully I can meet you here when you're down here.
Looking ahead to that trip in 2 weeks is what's driving him.
There's been a couple of days in the last week or so where we weren't sure if he'd make it to today, but we've managed. He's rallied again, and he's really, really looking forward to this.
Wes is a typical teen who loves video games and sports. He was able to graduate grade 12 with honors, get his driver's license, and work on an advisory council while he was at Sick Kids. And he has advice for others who are palliative.
I just try and live every day like it's your last and stay positive.
He'll spend his final days with family and friends while his mother is encouraging people to sign up for organ donation to prevent other people from missing out on a possible transplant.
These conversations have to happen. They're uncomfortable, but we need more organs, just period. People need to donate more, and it needs to be more talked about.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
And we'll be cheering for Wesley and the Blue Jays. Hope he has a great time. That's it for us tonight. For all of us at CTV News, thanks for watching. Marcia McMillan will be here tomorrow. Have a good night.